SLIAC podcast.
And we are the Loxecutioners. We'll be eating lightning and talking thunder and power bombing you right in the ear holes today.
Welcome to the Eat, Slay, Live podcast.
And we are the Loxecutioners. We'll be eating lightning and talking thunder and power bombing you right in the ear holes. Welcome to the Eat, Slay, Live Daily Grow with myself, Todd Lox, the People's Champion. Yesterday, I had someone kind of contesting my People's Champion title, and you know what? It's not self-proclaimed. It was voted on by the people for me. I have a T-shirt and everything, so there's the legitimacy of that. First of all, we would like to thank our sponsor today, our sponsor of the month, and that is CSG Tax Service. 'Tis the season for taxes. No one likes it, but I'll tell you what, find you a friendly face. Shay Gartner at CSG will take care of you. Now you have a friend in the tax business. And I just realized that I stole that from, is it Shane Company? Now you have a friend in the diamond business. I stole that. Anyway, sorry about that. See Shay at CSG Tax Services. Next thing on our agenda today, number six on our 115 person order from the Kindly Savage t-shirts. Today, that is Rachel McBoo. Right here, you can see her at the Kindly Savage circuit with her partner, participant Jerry. You can see her here. She's got a sign for Jerry. I love that at the Kindly Savage circuit when people make signs and put them up and treat our participants like rock stars. Anyway, thanks, McBoo. We super appreciate it. I have a very special guest today. I've known him for many, many years. He used to train down at the old Thunderdome at Pride Fitness when he was in high school. Here's a little video of him doing. I pulled this from the archives. I don't know what year this. I think it was like 2018, something like that. No, good. Focus and explode. Vertical stability. Focus and explode. Got a kid. Focus and explode. Boom. And here I'm going to bring him on, Jaquan Adams, everybody. What's up, my friend? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Damn, I brought that back from the archives, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know that video existed.
I didn't either. I was just going through. And there's another one, you and Sammy Green. Remember Sammy Green from Marquette? He was in that. Isaiah from Marquette. I can't remember Isaiah's last name.
I can't either.
He was a stud player too, but he was young in that. And it was like the Denny boys and Cole Akel. There was a bunch. That was a fun time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
I still remember. I tried to take a video of this, Jaquan. You you did an impersonation of me all the time at our sessions, and I tried to video it one time, messed it up, and man, it was so good. Still cracks me up to think about it. How are you, my friend?
I'm so well. How are you?
I'm great. I can't wait to get on here and talk about you, man. You are just like reading through some of the research I did. You're just like a redemption story. You know what I'm saying? So you were a standout basketball player at Civic Memorial High School. Averaged 19 points your senior year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Played for my brother Ross, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many years was he your coach there?
He was our assistant coach my junior year. Then he became the head coach my senior year. So about a year and a half.
I gotcha. So that's how you ended up down there training with me. So great high school career. I mean, you were a scorer, man. I mean, and I'm actually going to pull up a little quote here. One of your teammates, you and Caden played together, correct? Caden Clark.
Yeah.
Pull up this quote from his. Jaquan is no doubt the hardest worker that I know. It doesn't matter what challenge is thrown his way. He is going to find a way to get through it and come out on top, whether that's on the court or in the real world. Now, you and Caden, he's had himself a nice little college basketball career too, hasn't he?
Amazing.
You guys still talking things?
All the time.
Yeah, good. It's kind of iron sharpening iron. So you graduate from CM.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Lewis and Clark, which people don't realize that Lewis and Clark has a good basketball program here in this area.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Ross and my brother Ty both played there. It didn't go great for you, correct? It was COVID times. You had an injury, right? Can you talk about your time there at Lewis and Clark?
I really wasn't expected. Like, I wasn't experienced enough to be prepared for college.
Mm-hmm.
My first 2 years, it was a struggle. My injuries came after I left Lewis and Clark when I was trying to join Fontbonne University to actually Aiden. But I mean, the experience was great. Personally, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough in a lot of aspects. And that was just a very humbling experience for me, like very, very humbling.
You know that shows your maturity now, is that like you talk about like in the younger days, like saying that like you just weren't ready, you weren't mature. You're not blaming it on the coaches, you're not blaming it on the program, you're not blaming it on everything else. You're taking responsibility. I love that. And so and a lot of times it's hard when you start college because you leave high school, you're the big dog, you're the big man on campus, you know what I'm saying? Like everything runs through you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you get to college and you realize, man, that like everybody on that team, all your teammates, they were the big dog wherever they were. And you kind of start back at you start from the beginning again. You're not the big dog. There's people, you find out how hard the competition is in college, and it's hard going from being the man to just being kind of, the not the man. So was that kind of what you ran into?
Yes. But also I think in high school, like in college, you have to be more disciplined. In high school, I was mainly I was our top scorer, so I had a little bit more freedom. When I got to college, there were so many guys with the same ability that I had that I didn't do anything to really, and I didn't know what I needed to do to separate myself from guys who do the same thing for me. And I think I didn't develop the little things. And your brother used to always tell me, like, we would run defense and things like that. He would tell me the details. We would always have conversations after practice of the things that I wasn't doing right. And I'd be like, oh, man, it doesn't matter. I'm scoring. Everybody knows me. Who cares? From the outside, no one pays attention to that stuff. But then once I got to college, it was like, okay, hey, you're not talking on defense. Hey, you're not trying to rebound. Or, hey, you're not trying to push the ball when you need to get extra points. Or just those little things. I didn't realize how important they were. And because I didn't do those things, I didn't separate myself. So it definitely made an impact not knowing those things.
So that 2 years at Lewis and Clark, you weren't real successful in your basketball career, but it sounds like you were pretty successful in like finding yourself, realize like you said, it was a humbling experience. You left there and you were going to go to Fontbonne College over in St. Louis. That's when you had an injury, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
It was the first practice of the year.
Oh, wow.
The first practice of the year, the first time I felt in a few years like very comfortable in the environment. Obviously, I was playing with Caden and the other guys. And, it was the first practice. I got a rebound. I went coast to coast. I tried to do a move, and my leg just literally just went out of place. So that was very, very, very hard for me.
Did it end up requiring surgery, or what was the extent of the injury?
I had a torn ligament, like my LCL on the side of my knee. It wasn't big enough for me to get surgery, but also it wasn't well enough for me to walk on it on my own. So it was just kind of in the middle, and it took a lot of time for me to just sit and think and grasp the situation. And that's why it was so humbling for me.
And that's tough whenever like basketball was your life up until that point. And you're probably at that point like 20, 21 years old. And like, then that's all you'd known in basketball. Yeah. Basketball was going to be what you were going to do the next few years.
Yeah.
So then you take a 2-year absence from basketball. Like you take that absence and you join the National Guard, which kudos, hey, fellow National Guardsmen here. You're still in the National Guard, correct?
Actually, last weekend was my last drill. I just finished
nice.
contract, my first 3 years. Yeah, last weekend.
I like that. So you joined the National Guard. You're also working landscaping. You're doing that full time, correct?
Yes.
Yes. National Guard, working landscaping. Like, are you at that? Do you think at that point? That's when I saw you a lot as you were getting ready to go away to basic training. You were coming down to the old Thunderdome and getting ready for basic training, doing our circuit with us. And that's when you and I kind of reconnected. Were you during that 2-year period? You're like, basketball's over for me?
I didn't think basketball was over for me. I just didn't know what the perfect fit would be for me. Having the 2 experiences that I chose weren't my best interest. It was, man, and it still hurts me, honestly, because it just really bothered me how I went. But I mean, I'm thankful that God blessed me, and I've been blessed with all the opportunities that I have. But it was hard, man.
And I'm sure the National Guard, that speaking of humbling experiences, I'm sure that where did you go to basic training?
Fort Lee, Virginia. I went to Fort Lee, Virginia. I can't remember the place that I went to before that for basic because that was AIT, but I went to South Carolina. So I was.
Tell us about basic. What was that? A real eye opener for you going there and joining the military, being in basic training?
It was so hard for me. And nothing made it better because I lacked maturity so much. I got recycled. No one really knows that, but I had failed.
Wow. Recycling means how far into it did you get?
The last 2 weeks.
So the last 2 weeks?
The last 2 weeks.
They played games with you to wait till the last 2 weeks. So what recycling means is, say you're in basic training, you went, he would obviously Jaquan got 2 weeks from his basic training graduation, and then recycling makes him go all the way back to the beginning. So what was that? Was just a lack of maturity, and what was happening there at basic training that happened?
The tests and things like that. Well, we would have to sit in classrooms. This was at AIT actually, not basic, but we would have to sit in the classrooms and study for our job on our MRS, and we would be in there for like 5-6 hours a day, but barely any breaks. So I wasn't paying attention. I just really wanted to get done so that I could go home and talk to my family, Right. So I just kind of took that for granted, and I ended up having a test that presented itself, and I wasn't prepared.
Gotcha. So you go back to the beginning of AIT, and AIT is Advanced Individual Training. That's when you learn the job that you're going to do in the military. So you go back. So when you go back and you start over, what does Jaquan look like then? How have things changed in that second time through?
It was humility.
Yeah.
That's what God was teaching me in that moment. I actually didn't have to go all the way back. I had to go back like a month, which was very.
A month, hey man, a month at AIT is a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time, especially like you have constant people asking you why you're coming. Like the next group who are in the same position that you're in, they're like, "Hey man, how are you getting here?" And all these questions I constantly had. I was telling my family I was coming home. I ended up not being able to come home. It was very hard.
Yeah. And I'm sure you had to tell people, hey, I failed at this. I failed at this test. I'm saying, I'm sure that was a hard thing to do. Hard, what I'm saying? Yeah. But we come out of that and we have a 2-year absence from basketball. Now, are you playing basketball during? Are you going to like gyms and things and shooting, or what is your relationship with basketball during that 2 years?
It's crazy. I was just trying to figure out what God had for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to open gyms and I would just play basketball as much as I want, because I just didn't have anything else that gave me peace.
Yeah.
So I would just go to open gyms every day and just try to find a local hoop session and just play. And I would just do that literally for the time remaining that I was at home.
Now, so you end up going to Principia College.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Crazy thing is, I was working at a warehouse when I was trying to go back to Fontbonne.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at a warehouse, and my best friend Jamal, we were both working at Worldwide Technology, And while I was at basic, he ended up meeting another one of our best friends in our group named Shamari Miles, which is our point guard. Amazing. So we were just at work and we were just, doing our job or whatever, packaging boxes. And Jamal had mentioned, hey, man, you should go play with my friend Shamari Miles. I'm a local, so but I never knew Principia even existed.
Right. It's kind of hidden up there on the bluff, right?
Yeah. So when he's telling me all this, I'm going to Fine Bond. I already feel in my gut that going to Fine Bond isn't the right situation for me. But then he's telling me, hey, man, if you just take this risk, I feel like this would be the best opportunity for you. Mm-hmm. And something in my spirit was like, you know what? I'll try it. I don't know this guy that much. I'm going to try it just because I know that my friend has my best interest. I texted the coach. I was behind the deadline by like a month. And for some reason, they said, it's okay. They'll let me come in. I had all the credits I needed. I had everything. And I wouldn't have those things if I didn't go that one semester at Fine Bond. So it was just like everything worked out perfect for me. I had the exact GPA I needed. I had everything that I needed. So it was crazy.
It's funny how those things worked out.
Yeah.
So you go up there and playing 2 years, highly successful. You were all conference 2 years up there. They've never had a player at Principia who made the all conference 2 times. This last year, you just killed it. You end up being the St. Louis Intercollegiate Athlete Association Player of the Year. That's voted on by the Basketball Writers Association of America. Let's see some highlights here. You averaged 23.4 points a game, 10.4 rebounds a game. So you averaged a double-double. Your scoring was 3rd in the nation in Division III. You had 10 double-doubles. You had a game, 49-point triple-double game. The next game, you had 30 points after that. You were voted National Player of the Week 3 times, which was voted on the National Basketball Writers of America. So, dude, you have this first couple of years, it just doesn't go your way. It's almost seems like a failure, but it's really a learning experience. You take 2 years out, you join the military. So, man, how did this resurgence occur? You told the story how you got to Principia, but what made you so successful the second time around?
Embracing where I am and knowing what it takes to really put myself in the best position to be successful. I think when I was in college, I lacked so much maturity because I always thought we can just speak, for example, on the opposite end, every open shot is a good shot. But once I got to college, I realized not every shot's a good shot. The shots that are efficient for you are the shots that benefit everyone around you, make or miss. So I really learned the game from a different perspective by sitting out. I really embraced my role and what I could bring to the table, considering where I was then. And then I just developed the things that I was great at, and I made my weaknesses better by constantly just using that as the foundation of like my growth.
I saw a quote from you that when, like, after you had some success and won some award, you said, "Through all my struggles, my faith was rewarded and I couldn't be more thankful." I'll say that again. Through all my struggles, my faith was rewarded and I couldn't be more thankful. What did you mean? What did you mean by that?
I chose to choose God. No matter my circumstances, no matter when I didn't feel like God was there for me, I still chose God. And that humility made me grow my relationship with him so deeply that I became so confident that regardless of what happened to me, regardless of where I may be, everything was going to work out for me.
I have another quote here. It says, "To be nationally recognized for something I pray for every day has put so much perspective in me." So, and I think people, without you having said it in this podcast so far, I think people can see that you're a man of God these days. That you put a lot of faith, and like you said, you not only worked hard, but you prayed hard for where you're at today.
Yeah.
Where did that faith become part of your life? When?
I've always known God, especially from my grandmother. She's always, when I was younger, she's the main person who's always trying to encourage me through the word of God. Although I didn't understand, she still planted the seed in me as a young age. But as I got older and I got put in these positions where I felt like it wasn't other people's responsibility to bring me peace, I started to accept the obligation God had given me. And I didn't know what that meant, but I also learned to put myself and surround myself with people who knew God. And then my relationship developed over time by seeing what God was doing for other people. And the one thing I think that really gave me that assurance is like, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be perfect at everything. But even though I'm not perfect, that doesn't mean that I'm not loved unconditionally. And that just gives me hope to just try and to just simply just try.
Have you seen, like, in your life, like, the better your relationship with God, the better your life goes, the better your successes are?
Yes, by far. The
That,
things that I see now are things that I couldn't comprehend or see before. It's like my struggles now are something that I'm able to find joy within my struggles. I'm able to see God's work in my life in the areas that that may be cloudy. And to have that is so comforting. And like, I know that He's working in my life at all times. So just to be where I am with my relationship with God is beyond words. I'm exactly.
I love that, brother. We have some comments on here. Charlene's daughter said, perseverance, humility, and faith in his journey. Well done, young man. Well done.
Thank you.
Cody McMillan, let's go, Jaquan.
That's my guy.
Caden Clark, my brother.
Yep, that's my boy.
And here's someone, you won't know her, but she comes to Pride. Amanda Kavanaugh says, it's incredible to see a young man openly speak of God and his faith. Congratulations for all your accomplishments, and keep shooting for the stars.
Thank you. Thank you.
Charlene says, I knew there had to be a grandmother's love there. A grandmother's love runs strong.
Yes.
Leah Watson says, finding joy in the struggles. That's really awesome. So your basketball career is over, correct?
Yes.
Correct. And our military career is over. What's your goals for the future? What's your plans?
To play professionally, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been done in my family. And I'm going to be the first. And I speak the affirmation to myself every day. And I've been doing it every day. And that's just what I feel and believe in my heart that God has desired for me.
Now, what does this look like to try to play professionally? What will you have to do? What's your next step?
Really, it's just kind of reaching out to agents, putting God first, of course, because you never know. But just reaching out to agents, talking to people who could help me with resources and such. With me being voted to play in this All-Star game next weekend, like that's great for my resume. So there's just adding onto my resume and then just putting that stuff out there so that I can be seen by the right people.
And that's the Reese's Division III College All-Star game, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up some. I put it up once when I put up some of your awards. Men's D3 National Player of the Week. Now, you got that 3 times, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you ended up being the St. Louis Intercollegiate Athlete Association Player of the Year. And here's a picture of it. And you were the first time, like I said already, the first 2-time first team all-conference player in that program's history. That's got to make you feel good.
I feel great, man.
What advice would you have for anyone who, a young athlete? We'll stay specifically with basketball. What advice would you have a young person, like just kind of beginning his basketball career? What does Jaquan Adams learn that he could pass down to the younger generation?
Put yourself in environments that remind you that you are loved. Don't put yourself in a position that the people around you aren't nurturing you. And also be humble enough to accept that you're not great at everything. Also, just, of course, put God first, but just don't put yourself in positions or don't fall in love with the idea of other people's perception of best interest for you. Go where you are nurtured, because over the course of time, that development is going to make you or break you.
I talk about it a lot on this show a lot, is just surrounding you with people that push you, people that want to see you rise, that want to see you do well, that have your best wishes, and not people who, pretend to be your friends that pull you down to their level. You know what I'm saying? Being around successful people, it makes you successful. Like we talked about you and Caden, iron sharpens iron, Kelly May Bramlett says, so incredibly proud of you. I remember watching you in high school when Emily cheered her daughter. You and Caden were the reason my dad came to every game. Keep pushing on. You're a testament to never give up on your dreams. I love that. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Jen Bonner says, best of luck to you. I'll pray for your future endeavors. Stacy Lyon says, congrats to an amazing young man. Big things in the future. I love all that. I love all the positivity people are putting out there, and they're loving your story. Anything you want to say before we go, my brother?
Yeah, I'll just say, just because you may not feel God's presence doesn't mean he's there. And a lot of times people think, God is walking away from us, but if you don't feel God's presence, it's because you're walking away. Or there's something that you're doing that isn't serving him. So why would he continue to comfort you in areas that you're not reflecting on his word? So just no matter what, put God first. And that means to truly accept him in the center of your heart in all situations, just not when you feel like it. And I promise you, life will change.
Sometimes I think a lot of us, we catch ourselves praying just when things are bad. Instead,
Yes.
I think it's more important to pray when things are good, and just pray, being thankful and grateful to things that you do have,
Yes.
Brittany Clark, Caden's mom, amazing basketball player and even better young man. Love you, Jaquan Adams. We are so proud of you. Getting all that hometown love, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hey, Jaquan, like I said before we got on this show, I couldn't be more proud of you, and just watching your journey, man, and just staying the course and keeping your faith. When this All-Star game's down, I better see you back down here at the Thunderdome, my friend.
Oh, you will. You will.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you. Oh, I was going to say a little life hack, a little physical. If you have some bad feet or anything, get you a lacrosse ball, put it under the desk, under the table. When I'm sitting here, I always just roll this thing under my foot. I have no shoes on. Sorry about that. Try this. Try rolling a lacrosse ball under your feet. Little life hack. Anyway, thanks, Jaquan Adams, for coming on. Thanks to our sponsor, CSG Tax Services. And thanks for growing with us. Slay on.